Hey guys, Memphis Lazy here. If you're wondering why I haven't appeared on video, or at least my face, in a while, it's just easier for me to use still frame pictures to upload as opposed to video. When I use video, it renders a lot slower, it uploads a lot slower, and it causes me to put up less content, or less content than I would like. I will be appearing in videos again in the future, actually very soon, but they'll probably be a lot shorter than I'm used to making, closer to 3 to 4 minutes than 5 to 8. But anyways, that's the reasoning behind that, so don't worry, my face is not melted off or anything. Yeah, so basically it's easier for me to do it this way. But today we're going to be looking at a few cards from Cosmo Blazer that caught my eye, and we'll be starting off with some traps and then going into monsters. So basically, or spells and then monsters. But anyway, so the first one is Exceed Tribal, and it's a continuous trap, and it says face-up Exceed monsters with 2 or more Exceed materials cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that right there alone just tells me, okay, let me bring out my Zen mains, put it on the board. Now you have to destroy it by battle. I'll only put my Gachi Gachi on the board. Now you have to destroy it by battle. After damage calculation, if an Exceed material monster you control with 2 or more Exceed materials battle an opponent's monster, destroy the opponent's monster. So now, even if they attempt to destroy something like Zen mains or Gachi Gachi by battle, it wouldn't even work. Like, they would have to, their monster would immediately die, and then you could save it by, whatever, removing its materials. I could see this card becoming a super rare. Let me see what it is. In Japan, it's a common. I could see it being a super rare or a rare in America, but don't hold me to that. It's just an assumption that I'm making, or a kind of a guess on its effect. Its effect is pretty good. The next card is Abyss Scorn. Okay, as if Mermail monsters needed any more help, this card is not only a boost or a buff, but removal. Target one face-up Mermail monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end phase. When this set card is sent to the graveyard, target one monster your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard as well. So if you get it off, your monster becomes buff. Bigger, capable of handling a situation. If your opponent had brought out a sack monster that has 24 or whatever attack, or an exceed monster that has a little bit too much attack to handle, you just play this card. Your monster gets buffed for a turn. 1,000 stronger. Most of them are 16 or pretty close to there. You can kill it and then move on with your your turn. Get it back with the new guy, Abyss lead later. And if your opponent mysticals it, they're gonna -2 themselves. So, or is it -2? No, it'd be -1. It would be -1. They're gonna -1 themselves, assuming they control a monster. So it's gonna make your opponent think twice before mysticaling your back row stuff. So if you have an Abyss Squall on the board, or in your hand, hold it out, put this on the board, bluff out your opponent's back row removal, and then set your Squall after you feel it's safe. So basically, we're gonna look at next Quick Booster. Quick Booster is interesting because it reminds me of an older card from, I think, not Magician's Force, something, I don't remember exactly where it's from. But basically, target one quick play spell in your graveyard, except Quick Booster, obviously, so you don't cause an infinite loop. Shuffle it into the deck, and then when this card on the field, not so much an infinite loop, but you could keep just, I play a Quick Booster, then put it back in my deck. Okay, cool, I got it again. Then put the other one back in my deck, so you never run out of cards, essentially. But shuffle it back into your deck. When this card is on the field, is destroyed by your opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add one quick play spell card from your deck to your hand. So it has 2 effects. You can activate it and put a quick play spell that you already used back into your deck, or you can let it sit there, and then when your opponent destroys it, you can add a quick play from your deck to your hand, which is awesome for cards that you only run one ofs. So you could run a one of this, and then run maybe limiter removal, or burial from a different dimension, or even, not this card, but this card, XYZ double back, and you can run a one of this, and you can consistently get them, because basically you would get this first, use it, and then you could get your Exceed boost and use that to get this back. Or if you haven't gotten this yet, you could set it your Exceed or extra, your quick boost, and then get your Exceed double back straight to your hand. And since we're already here, let's look at this card. Exceed double back. If you control no monsters and an exceed monster you control was destroyed this turn, activate this card. Target one exceed monster in your graveyard that was destroyed this turn, and one other monster in your graveyard whose attack is less than or equal to the attack of the destroyed monster. Special summon those targets, destroy them during the end phase. So what's really cool about this is you could bring out Zen Mains by normal summoning a tour guide and a Sangan, and then you would play, after your opponent's destroyed your Zen Mains, you could play this card, special summon your Zen Mains in defense mode, and then special summon the Sangan in defense mode, and your opponent would sit there and go, well, that's stupid. Now I gotta get rid of those things again. Okay, end my turn. And then when you end your turn, your Sangan is destroyed, and you get a plus off of this card, basically. Or something like that. You get to bring back a couple walls, and if your opponent really needs to attack, they can attack through your Sangan and your whatever. Or if you suicided into something, you could special summon. Let's say you used Gem Knight Pearl, since he's probably the most optimum rank 4 you're gonna use. You bring out Gem Knight Pearl. He doesn't need materials to use an effect or anything, and then you can bring out something that has 2600 or less from your graveyard, and then attack with that too, if you've already used up all that stuff. So this is a pretty cool card. I can see it staying a common, but it could also be a rare. I think that card really cool. So let's go to this card, Exhibitional Goblin. Okay, Exhibitional Goblin. During each of your end phases, reveal the card at the bottom of your deck. Then either place it on top of your deck or banish it face down. So essentially, what this is doing is allowing you to decide whether or not you want to draw something. And I think this card is really cool. I can see it being a super. What is it in Japan? In Japan, it's a short print. So basically, what you would do is sometimes you shuffle your deck, and then your game ends, and you go, well, where was my BLS that whole time? Oh, on the bottom of the deck. Where was my Monster Reborn that whole time? On the bottom of the deck. So now this allows you to go, let me look at the bottom of my deck at the end of my turn. Okay, this is a stupid card. I'm gonna banish that. I don't need that card. But if you do decide you want to draw it, you can put it right on top. During your next draw phase, you draw it. And so that allows you to manipulate what you draw a little more better than a lot of cards that used to come out, where you would go, oh, during your standby phase, decide or whatever, or during, just stuff like that. What's interesting to note about the card artwork of this card is these two characters right here are supposed to be on a trap. I don't remember what the trap is, but they're replaced by more cartoony looking versions of them, which is really stupid because now they're back into the card art and they're cartoony looking. So yeah, and then you see the Avarice of the Pot of Greed with his thong instead of his little curtain thingy, and all sorts of funny stuff. The Goblin of Greed getting beat up by this old monster. Just some cool cards. Anyway, so yeah, I think that card's really cool. The next card is Orbital 7. Orbital 7 is really cool in the effect of that he's 500 attack and 2000 defense for a 4-star. If you flip him up, you can place a Roger counter on him and then remove all Roger counters from this card. This card's attack becomes 2000 attack, but it cannot attack directly. So that's not really the point. Is that your opponent's going to get hit. Your opponent's going to hit it. It's going to get flipped up, get a Roger counter. Now it's 2000, 2000. They're going to go, oh crap, I got to get rid of this thing. That's a cool part about it. But what's really cool is that he is Debris Dragon bait. You can hit him with Debris Dragon because he's 500 attack, and you can hit him with Machine Dupe because he's 500 attack. So you can bring out 3 of these guys, assuming you didn't draw 2, and then go straight into a Shockmaster or something else, and that's really cool. And this guy works really well with Book of Moon, obviously, and Sugumi and stuff like that. Okay, so Flame Mech Shu. This is along the same lines as the other Shu monsters, or the Mech Shu. This is obviously fire support. He's trade-in bait, so you can hit him with trade-in. He has really good stats. His effect is very similar to, I don't remember the other one, but there was one that's like, if you tribute it for one monster, it dies at the end of the turn. But this is a little better, and it puts your opponent on a very fast clock. Sure, you're going to lose 1,000 attack per turn, but your opponent has to contend with a 29 beater who has Pierce, essentially. So, I mean, I think this card's really cool. It's obviously going to be played in a lot of fire decks, I think. I don't see why you wouldn't play this in fire decks. You could trade it in. You could bring it out for 1 sack. It goes towards the conditions of bringing out Elemental Lord Flame or Fire or whatever it is called, and that's really cool. This guy is probably my favorite card from Cosmo Blazer. I think this is probably going to be my favorite card for a while, actually, next to Extra Sword. Extra Sword is probably my favorite card from Abyss Rising. That's just a normal monster, or an effect monster. So, Aster Drawn. He's a 1600 4-star spellcaster. So, nothing special. I mean, you know, he has pretty good stats. 1600 isn't too weak, but his effect is amazing. So, if this card is used for an Exceed Material summon, you can treat it as level 5, which is awesome. So you can special summon a Cyber Dragon, normal summon him, and then go into a a Tyrus or the other one, just other 5 stars, and then an Exceed monster that was summoned using this card's effect. Exceed using this card as an Exceed material gains this effect. When it is Exceed summoned, draw a card. That's really cool. If this card isn't a secret rare, I'm going to be very surprised, and I hope that it isn't a secret rare. In Japan, it's a short print, which is cool. If it's a short print here, that would be awesome. I could see this card getting holofication treatment in the future if it isn't a holo when it comes out in America. And the last card is Shin Magician. Shin Magician is really cool. I was looking at on Dual Terminal actually, and there's a lot of 1-star monsters that you could use just in any deck that runs Chaos or any deck that runs a specific theme to it. Just a few to name off the top of the head. The Fool, Arcana Force the Fool. A lot of, I think this card will probably see play in a Quasar build or in Doppel build, because a lot of those cards that they use for the synchro materials are 1-stars. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, Treeborn Frog, Crystal Seer if she survives. If she doesn't get attacked, you can use that. Copycat. Is it Copycat? I don't think it's Copycat. It's Copy Magician or something like that. It's another 1-star. There's a lot of 1-stars that you could use. I'm probably going to do a video on this later also, but this is a really cool card. It has 21 to 100 defense for being a 1-star, a rank 1. It's light, so it's Chaos Food. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle, so it has a kind of a Reaper effect, sort of. When this card is targeted by a spell, trap, or monster effect, you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So that's really cool. Yeah, so I guess in the comment section below, let me know what you guys think of these cards. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to see when I put out new videos, and thanks for watching.